Hi, this is the Mad Bard. Welcome to an episode of Wild Reading. Today, I'll be talking about Mistborn, specifically the first book, The Final Empire. Scadrial, the city where ash falls from the sky. It's a very weird setting, but it gives us something about grimdark, because we know from the book that the Lord Ruler has won. Who's the Lord Ruler? He is the bad guy. He is the evil man who takes control of the entire city and takes control of that world and makes it a dark world. It's very strange because when we read about fantasy, we notice the bad guys and the good guys, and in a fight who's going to take control. But in this book, we start with the evil man winning. So it's kind of, we're starting from the end. The bad guy has already won and he's controlling everything. So what do we still have? That's really strange. So if you finish the entire story from the first two lines by having the Lord Ruler win against the good guys and taking control of the entire city, so what is there to read? Is he going beyond? Is he trying to discover new boundaries? Is Brandon Sanderson trying to discover new boundaries in his story? That makes it really interesting. And it's the first book, by the way, that got him known and got him into his position that's known right now as one of the best fantasy writers in the entire world. But in Mistborn here, we see a certain system that the Lord Ruler put for this city, which is, he is the Lord Ruler, the king. He has his own noble families who do trade with him, and these noble families own the rest of the land where there is a ska, and the ska is something like the proletariat who have to work, and they are closer to the word slaves, if we can put it. But they have to work without getting paid too much, and the owner of the land is the noble families, and noble families work immediately with the Lord Ruler, and he's put the system into this world to maintain peace. But this kind of peace is where people suffer, not where people live in peace. So it's not the utopia that everybody wants. It's a dystopia, but nobody has the choice. So even if you try to imagine that there is a solution, the author tells you in the book that there is no solution. It's already done. What is the thing that the author wants to write about? Is that the heroes should be the bad guys in this case, because they know things the other people don't know. Because everyone thinks that the Lord Ruler is the person who keeps things safe, and noble families are happy with what they have, and the Ska cannot rebel. So there is no rebellion in this country. So what's going on? Here comes Kelsier, a Mistborn who's a leader for the poor and weak society, who wants to make a rebellion against the Lord Ruler to kill him and kick him out and change the system of the city and stop what's happening, because the Lord Ruler has been there for 1,000 years. And here we come to the hardships they face, because the hard magic system in this book is really amazing. If you look at the abilities they have, is something strange, because it's the first time I hear something about it, and it's really innovative. Some people have the magical power to consume metals, and based on the type of metal you consume, you get a certain ability. And only Mistborns are the people who can consume all types of metals and suck them into their bodies, and at the same time have multiple abilities. So people are looking for these Mistborn to save them, and the Lord Ruler looking for these Mistborn to either kill them or keep them with him. And the point we're having here is Kelsier is a Mistborn, and he's a big threat against the Lord Ruler. Now he survived that era, and he wants to have a rebellion, so he would be the only hope for people. At the same time, we go to our main character, which is Vin. She's a girl with the ability of a Mistborn, and Kelsier discovers she is a Mistborn, and he tries to recruit her, and he wins in that. But his point for her is to let her go into the parties made by the noble families, where they get to know each other, where they get to strike deals, because he knows information is very important, and the information between these noble families about their competition to get closer to the Lord Ruler and what happens in this city is very important for rebellion. So he gets her to go there and get to know the sons and daughters of these noble families to give him more information. But she falls in love with a man, they are called Ellen. So the point is, she loved him because she saw he's different from the other noblemen and their point of view towards what the Ska need. She loved him because she saw he's different from the other noblemen. They kept reading books. These books have some certain knowledge, and one of these books was written by the Lord Ruler himself during his journey before he takes control of the world for 1,000 years. But at the same time, the Lord Ruler has a type of police force under his arm, which is the Inquisitors. And the Inquisitors have metal nails dug into their eyes. They have certain abilities given by the Lord Ruler, and they are his own police, and they are merciless. And it turns out that Vin is the daughter of one of these Inquisitors, but she is an illegal daughter, so nobody knows about her. And at the same time, she's trying to figure out a way to get out of her miserable life, but at the same time she wanted to find a reason for her life, so she went with Kelsier to become a Mistborn. So Kelsier trains her as a Mistborn, and at the same time he sends her to the parties for the noble men and women to get to know them under the mask of one of the noble families. So the point here is, we have policies, we have rebellion, we have grimdark fantasy, we have Mistborns, we have a hard magic system. It's not easy. But the book is taking you to a place where it's so desperate to the point that, hey, there is no solution here. And we get to the scene where something really important happens that has to change everything for Vin, because Vin has to take on her shoulders the mission to accomplish everything. Now, would they be able to get to the Lord Ruler? I'm not going to spoil that for you, but the point is, the Lord Ruler takes care of everything. He controls everything with his Inquisitors. We have a system in the city. If the Lord Ruler goes away, they decay. But the point is, what is the importance of the Lord Ruler if he's taking control of the city in a way that he spreads his own energy to make everybody feel depressed? And only those Mistborns are the ones who can fight it, because they can consume a certain metal to protect themselves from that effect. So the point is, you're fighting someone you can't beat, and you know that you can't beat, but at the same time you have to put some hope, which while reading, you can't see that hope. You keep seeing some glimpses of light through this grimdark tale of someone trying to save the people, the Ska, the servants, from the noble families, and trying to know from the noble family secrets about the Lord Ruler, and trying to get to the Lord Ruler to kill him. The author is hinting that what they are going to do, led by Kelsier, is not something good. So what is the secret that the Lord Ruler has that Kelsier and Vin and the rest of the people in the city don't know? While reading the books about history, while finding the book that was written by the Lord Ruler himself, we managed to find that there is a certain journey for the Lord Ruler to get where he is right now. So the point is, what did the Lord Ruler do, and what did he save the world from? So does he have a dark secret that made him this evil? And what if he dies? What if Vin and Kelsier manage to make this rebellion? What's going to be? Are they going to unleash a bigger danger, a more dangerous enemy? That's what you're going to know if you read book 2 and 3, and I'm going to read book 2 and 3 and tell you about it. The language Brandon Sanderson uses is really amazing, because it's direct, simple, and the book is a really page turner. Like, you don't find a lot of weird words where you have to stop and think, and everything goes smoothly in a chronological order, which makes it easier for you to follow in this world. And he's not throwing everything at you at once. You're focused on how they feel, how they think, and there are different cultures in that. So the point is, we have him hinting about things that happen in real world, about the system where you have the king, the noble men, the Inquisitors, which we can see something about military. Then we go to the slaves, or Ska. That's something taken from the real world in the 19th century and before that. So he's taken from this world and expressing that in a fantasy world where things are going to the extreme. So he's telling us that this kind of system has to end one day, and it mostly ended with the coming of the capitalism. But the point we have here is this world itself, where history is really important, because the Lord Ruler has destroyed every single man who has knowledge of religion and history. And that's something really strange, because we have a character in the book, certain people who know history, and their own mission is to try to memorize and read as much history as they can and as much religions as they can. And he tries to connect between all these religions. So is the fight here religious? Is the secret historical? So it is control over history, over magic, and over religion. Now put in your mind that magic here is something we can call money or power in the real world. So you have to control these three things: religion, history, and power by money, in order to control the world. And these three things the Lord Ruler had. And he kept focusing on killing every single man who would come up with a religion or would revive an old religion or would revive another part of the history. So he kept his people oblivious of history, religion, and magic. Now look at any place in our societies, any country where the kings or the government controls the history, religion, and power in it. They take control of everything. There is no chance in rebellion. Still, Brandon Sanderson hints that this unfair situation is coming to an end one day. If we rebel against them, here it comes the idea that a lot of the governments spread, that if we go, you can't live without us. That we are necessary, even though you hate us, we are necessary for the survival. That's what the governments say, or kings or queens or president or whatever. But it turns out that life goes on, even if they go. So they give you this kind of fear, ruling by fear. The Lord ruler rules by fear, and that's what most of our societies are led with. They are led by fear. The fear of destruction, the fear of we can't do anything without them, the fear of we are not on the same level as this person. Now here, I expect Brandon Sanderson to move on in the book 2 and book 3, The Well of Ascension and the Hero of Ages, to tell us that there are things different from what we know. And there are lies that are being told to us every single day about the ruling system, about the society, about life, that he's going to uncover in his books. So if you think of his books and at the same time try to apply it in our life, just replace magic with money or power, and you can see the differences and you can see what's going on in this world. This is a very heavy book when it comes to thinking of it. If you're just going to read it for the enjoyment, that's okay. But if you're going to compare it to the world we live in, oh, there are a lot of things you have to think of. You have to think of power, money, ruling system, ska, which is proletariat, noblemen. What's the difference between all these people? They are all people. So what makes certain people take control and what makes certain people feel that they are weaker and they can't take control of things? And if we have a rebellion, everything will get destroyed. Who came up with this idea? And what about hope? So the next 2 books have to convince us with something that has to do with hope, what has to do with people, has to do with society and your life. Are you going to survive? Even if you get rid of the people who run this country, can we find other people who are better to run this country for us? That's a very good idea about Mistborn. Here ends the book 1. I don't want to spoil that for you, but if you like it, you can go pick up and read it. It's one of the great introduction into the fantasy world. When I read book 2 and 3, we're going to talk about it and we're going to have a very important discussion. Thank you for being here. See you next time in an episode of Wild Reading.